Hey, man.
Are you just showing off your teeth, Mel? Is that what you're doing?
I'd been to the dentist and I'm feeling I can't stop doing this because it'll feel so nice and clean.
Well,
We've got to get on with this because you've got to go to the dentist.
exactly. I mean, think about that. And this wasn't planned like other things. We've just been spending too much time with each other, Mel. Now the dental appointments are matching. What's next? What's next?
I don't want to say. It could
Let's
be a
not
bit.
go
Yeah, let's not say it. Let's get on with the show. Roll the bumper. Nice. Not mic drop, it's a flag drop. Hello and welcome to the Good, Bad, the Ridiculous. What a test match we have had. It's been tiring. We were both up until well after 4 o'clock, just trying not to fall asleep. But it's been an incredible test match to watch. And I know we've got a few disappointed India fans online with us today. Hello to everybody who is joining us there. I can see one from Raj Rohit saying, "I'm feeling the emotions today in the aftermath. It hurts bad, but I know we tried our best. Bleed blue, and congratulations, New Zealand." I think that's a really, really nice sentiment there. Lots to break down as well. Lots of nominations coming in. But first up, you know what? Our Good, Bad, Ridiculous poet laureate is back. Because remember, you might remember that Jimmet was afraid of jinxing everything. So even though jinxes don't exist, but he's back. He's recovered. And he's written this lovely little piece of Ross and Kane, blood brothers battle with the best on the final day of the final test. Face artful spin without chagrin. Express pace with natural grace. Ball by ball and run by run, they chase the mace out in the sun. They miss, they edge, hit and defend, but stay together till the end. And there's the flick to square leg deep, the shot that made their nation leap, the immortal hug, smiles of relief. Triumph in tests, the tallest peak. Let's hear it for Jimmet Raja.
Amazing.
That's a great effort, Jimmet. Absolutely love the effort you put into those. That rolls off the tongue. You, my friend, are a wordsmith of whom I can only be jealous. Not bad, hey, Bharat?
Oh, that is sensational. The quality just keeps getting better and better, just like the quality of cricket we saw during the test match in Southampton. Jimmet Raja just wakes up and is a better poet than he was the previous day. And clearly it takes his inspiration from cricket. I like I said last time as well, I need to borrow some of Jimmet's wordsmith skills, to be honest.
Yeah, I could use some of that myself. So thank you, Jimmet Raja. We really appreciate that effort. Now let's bring up some nominations. I know we have a few. From Sports and Psych. Ridiculous that the biggest Black Caps and Williamson fan, timed my 50th birthday getaway with the end of the final. So on the extra day, I'm stuck here with this awful view and intermittent phone signal, only finding out Black Caps won the next morning. Well, I kind of want to say that's Caroline, who is Sports and Psych. We'd like to wish you a very, very happy 50th birthday, and what a present to be given by your team. I'm sure there were a lot of people who actually did stay up over the night in New Zealand. What might this do for cricket in New Zealand as well? Because any country that, loves being world champions in a sport, in a country where rugby tends to take the headlines and dominate the headlines most time, this could be really exciting for New Zealand cricket.
Well, just think back to the last time we had a world championship for the first time in a format, the World T20. Who won that? India. And what happened to T20 cricket since? Well, I don't even need to mention it. New Zealand have been, like the old cliche, they've been punching above their weight for so long. Now they are the undisputed world heavyweight champions in the world, and nobody can take that away from them. And also, they will always be the first team to have been crowned official world test champions. So it was such a wonderful moment, not just for the Black Caps, and happy birthday to you, Carolyn, but also for cricket in general, world cricket in general. At some level, you kind of felt like you needed a new winner. And New Zealand had, across all formats, it just been there and thereabouts. I mean, I wouldn't even call them dark horses like the other cliche, because they've they always manage to make it through to the to the semis or the quarters, and in the last few years to the finals itself. So it's not, they've just fallen a bit short. And this time, yeah, I mean, I guess, Mel, it was a pretty convincing win by the end. It looked like it could be a tricky run chase. I really believe that when Ashwin came into that spell, I thought, woof, New Zealand are going to be in trouble, especially when Kane Williamson was given out. There's so much to talk about today. But then, yeah, they just, won on a canter, and it was great to watch. And yeah, what better birthday gift for Carolyn after her 50th birthday, special birthday, and a special birthday gift from the Black Caps.
That certainly was. Okay, and next nomination, please. Oh, no, wait. Oh, yes, we've got a picture with this one.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh no, this was the.
I don't know. That's a.
It's a cryptic picture. Oh no.
Cryptic picture.
Oh. Well, maybe it's from.
I don't know. Rashi and Muku were toying with us.
Yeah.
I'm confused, but we'll bring up another nomination. Mate, shut up. Good. New Zealand winning the most important ICC trophy with Ross and Kane at the crease. Bad. I just want the old Virat back. Ridiculous. Experts declaring India had the advantage, even though New Zealand had similar home conditions and played in England beforehand. Well, yeah, for me, the Ross and Kane thing, I just thought it was so fitting that it was those two. Like, you think of Ross Taylor, and he's been there since the sort of bad old days, since before, New Zealand cricket started on that journey after that loss in Cape Town. So he has been there for so long, and Kane has too. Just the way that they have ridden this wave and been very much part of that culture transformation that really was begun under Mike Hess and Brendan McCullum. But in the end, that they have been New Zealand's best batters over the past several years, and just to see them finish it off, it felt really fitting to me. What do you make of some of those nominations?
No, terrific for Ross Taylor and Kane Williamson to have been there. Like you said, Ross Taylor, just think of the number of times he's just about, you could taste victory or taste that whole feeling of being a world champion, and it's fallen short. World Cup semi-final 2007, World Cup semi-final 2011, World Cup final 2015, World Cup final 2019. And I don't even know about their record in T20 World Cups. I'm sure they've been knocking it out. I know they haven't made a final, but, he's come so close. And he said before this game, right? He said, if only, and I thought Isa Guha put it, one of the best lines on commentary during the whole Test match was Isa Guha saying, if only the overthrow had not hit Ben Stokes' bat, or the throw from Guptill hadn't hit Ben Stokes' bat, Ross Taylor wouldn't be here today, because he would have finished his career as world champion. So such a fitting, and we all talk about Sachin Tendulkar and how he finally won a World Cup on his sixth attempt, and it meant so much. There's a lot about it in this new book, Suresh Raina, I believe, as well, if you want to read more about it. Cheap plug. But, it's similarly for Ross Taylor. 2007, he's been around for a long, long time. And to have finally just, be there in the middle, and to have played such a crucial innings as well. Imagine the pressure when he walked out to bat. And there was that period where they batted for 5 overs where there were 2 runs scored. I think 25, 26 balls where there were no runs scored. Ashwin was really getting into his spell. And it was that one shot of Ross Taylor when he kind of backed himself and hit it straight over mid-wicket without going cross-batted. That, I thought, really turned the momentum in the game. And he didn't look back. So a great moment for them. And Kane Williamson still has a lot of cricket left in him. So he'll continue and they've been playing, catch me if you can, kind of with the run scoring tally anyway, and the century scoring tally for New Zealand. Ross Taylor is number 1. It's just a matter of time before Kane Williamson goes past him once Ross Taylor stops. Brothers in arms, blood brothers, all very fitting. So and about India having the advantage. India had the advantage because they went in as a number 1 team. They had won in Australia. They've just had a very good run. of late. But just India versus New Zealand, they have struggled, especially away from home, especially in New Zealand. So I said before the game began, New Zealand start as favorites, but I thought India would still win just because of the cricket they've been playing. So I mean, some experts would have declared India as having had the advantage, but I definitely wasn't one of them.
Yeah, no, and I don't think I heard any expert either suggesting that India were going to win by 22 runs, and to keep insisting that the whole way through the test. He's staying silent. You're not even listening to me. I said I didn't hear any experts insist that India are going to win by 22 runs and keep insisting that throughout the test.
Well, it almost came through. I was almost going to message you when Kane Williamson was given out first by Michael Goff, who never gets it wrong. I was like, wow, 22 runs. Maybe I should have said 44 runs. but I did say I was one of the two experts I can think of. Oh, look at me calling myself an expert. People I can think of. On this show, I am an expert. There are only two of us. So I was the only one who said there will be a result. There will not be a draw. Like, with these two bowling attacks, I told you, if these two bowling attacks, I just could not see a draw. The batting is just not good enough. It's very difficult to score runs or survive against these bowling attacks. So I'm happy there was a result. And I just want the old Virat back says, mate, shut up. And every time I see hashtag mate, shut up, it feels like someone's talking to me, because I've heard that before in life many times to be asked, shut up. Yeah, I guess mate, shut up is talking about the old Virat where he was scoring a lot of hundreds, I guess, or maybe he was just because even though it was New Zealand, and Virat Kohli has spoken about, like, how he just cannot get himself fired up as much as he can against an Australia or an England. He was pretty fired up. Like, he was putting his hand up after every ball yesterday, at least for the first 25 odd overs. But yeah, the old Virat will be back once they're facing England and there's Ben Stokes in the opposition.
Yeah, I can see a comment there from Arpan saying nobody a bad guy, so we need to stop with this nice guy nonsense. I think you may be taking that the wrong way a little bit, Arpan. Just because you're saying New Zealand are nice guys, it doesn't mean that everyone else is a bad guy or not nice either. But it's the way in New Zealand have played their cricket over a long period of time now. They don't carry on with nonsense on the field. They don't seem to, no, certainly not that I've seen. They don't indulge in sledging or any carry on. They're incredibly humble as a team. And in fact, the niceness is often being used against them, almost as people mocking them for their niceness. And I mean, remember the 2015 World Cup in Australia, Brad Haddin sort of using that whole nice guy thing, stuff them, they're too nice, that sort of sentiment. So it's something that's been used against them, and I think we'll talk a bit about nice guy stuff at the end. So don't take that too hard. Arpan, I'm just sad. Ignore, please. That's okay. You can vent. And I can see Royal Dong is venting, saying, "Sack the team." Why would you sack New Zealand? They just won, man.
Yeah, that's a good nomination from G. Paul as well. I thought BJ Watling in his last match, keeping wicket and you could see that was a painful dislocated. When they zoomed onto that finger, and you could see it was slightly bent. Yeah, thankfully they zoomed out very soon. And that I thought was, again, playing in his last test, BJ Watling. He's been one of the most understated, quiet performers. He went past MS Dhoni, right, in terms of wicket keeping. And going back to what you were speaking about, how much Test cricket New Zealand players compared to India, I think it's a significant achievement. There was only Brad Haddin ahead of him amongst his contemporaries or guys he was still playing with. So I think a great end for his career as well. We spoke about Ross Taylor, but BJ Watling, thankfully, he wasn't required to come out and bat. But yeah, he took 3 or 4 catches yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah, and good ones as well. So good finish for him. But yeah, him, keeping with the dislocated finger just sums up New Zealand as a team.
And remember, we had some nominations. We had a couple of nominations yesterday saying, "Oh, what a shame for BJ Watling to get that ball that he did from Chami and to get out like that." But I did point out, he plays such a massive part, and you always knew he was going to play a further part in this team. So yeah, this victory is as much thanks to his wonderful performance as everyone, and everyone in that New Zealand side really did make some kind of serious contribution at some point. Okay, next nomination, please. It's from @Abby Ivy. Not saying I'm Kohli is a bad captain, but certainly not the one who wins championships, even after having a brilliant team. Great teams win each and every cup when they are strong, like Australia and West Indies. India is letting away too many ICC trophies. I mean, so first of all, Abby Ivy, you do have to remember, though, when you talk about that Australian team that went on that massive run and that West Indies team as well, I mean, they are two kind of outliers in history in that kind of dominance. So with more formats around now as well and teams being stretched, if any team is, I think India is the team most likely in some ways to have that sort of dominant run in the present time. But I think it might become harder and harder, I think, to actually do it with the way that there's so much with the introduction of T20 cricket, especially at the moment with pandemic playing hell, with players needing resting, but generally the packed schedule as well and what that does to players. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we won't see that again. Maybe we will. I think India is a team that is probably the most likely team to do that when you look at their depth of talent, what they're running through them, and the fact that they had that victory in Australia. Let's see what happens with the upcoming tour in England. But it is really, really, really hard to win away. Still, it's so hard. And what those Indian and Australian teams did back at the time was unbelievable. And when it comes to ICC trophies as well, they haven't dominated quite the same way as maybe they did in the run of Test cricket that they had. I mean, Australia's won a lot of World Cups, but
yeah, and I think the thing with Virat Kohli also is because his successor won every ICC trophy there is to win, or which was around during his time, MS Dhoni. People will always compare him not having won an ICC trophy. This was his third ICC championship knockout game, I guess. Well, 2017. Every alternate year he's gone to England since 2017, right? 2017 lost in the final to Pakistan Champions Trophy. 2019 lost to New Zealand semi-final, and now this one. So it's a tricky one. MS Dhoni did win a lot of ICC trophies, but under his captaincy, India were trounced 4-0 in Australia and England. Again in 2014, they were beaten pretty badly after winning that one test in England and didn't win anything in Australia. So yeah, I mean, he did win a series in New Zealand in 2009 very early on. So what is more important now? I mean, under Kohli, yes, he wasn't part of the wins in Australia this time around, but it was still his team in a way. So India won twice in Australia. Like, how do you judge a captain? At times, it's easier, I think, when it's England or Australia, because you just forget about World Cups and all that. Ashes, how many Ashes have you won as captain, or how many Ashes series have you lost as captain? It's easier to judge, but it will add up. I think you can't call yourself there were all these questions after India beat Australia and then went on to beat England and India, right? Is this the new era? Like, are India embarking on this dominant era? And I said, we'll have to wait and watch. And what happens if India now beat England in England? If you beat Australia and England in the space of 8 months, does this loss then count as a bigger, I don't know. It's a tricky one with cricket. It's not very straightforward.
It isn't. And also it seems weird comparing ICC tournaments to this ICC trophy, because it's completely different. Test cricket is complete. It's not it's not the same as a knockout sort of tournament that's intense. It's packed together. It has for me, a very, very different feel. So I'm not even sure that you can put this in the same category as the others. We'll see further on how it develops, but but we'll see. So I did. What did I just saw? I just saw something that I thought. All right, just a point from Blueworm17, who thinks Virat can focus on batting more if relieved from captaincy. Just a little point there. I don't think that's going to happen, because I think he thrives on being captain. Okay, so next nomination, please. It is from Suvigya Jaiswal. Look, ridiculous. The quality of bowling in this match is one of the highest ever. Bad. India's tail breaking like a Palji dipped in tea. Palji.
It's a famous cookie here, or biscuit. Yeah.
Ah, hard to recognise. It's a team not the same that showed resilience in Oz. To the first. Oh, okay. It's
well done, guys.
Oh, nice work, Rati and Muku, who are running the show. That's absolutely okay. That looks nice. That makes me actually feel like making some chai. But first of all, the quality of the bowling. Yeah, I think it was a sort of match where, and I was thinking about this a bit. It wasn't as though you kept seeing like loads of like searing, unplayable deliveries that had batters weaving and bobbing all over the place, or it was just that there were so many really good deliveries and hardly any bad ones. It was so consistent without being like, oh my God, this is a Curtly Ambrose spell, or it's Shane Warne spinning some sort of impossible weave. So it was kind of a funny one for that, because I do think it was incredibly high quality, but almost in a restrained way. Just it's like, you know, the waves gradually beating against the cliff and wearing it away, rather than a tsunami that just knocks everything over.
Yeah, it was a test. It really was a test. And it wasn't like one bowler just went on a run. Like, you know, it wasn't the spell we saw from the Australians in Adelaide with the whole 36 thing. But it was just genuine, proper test bowling where, you know, the whole secret of test cricket, we've spoken about it so many times, is it's about survival. Like, life is about survival. It is about survival of the fittest. And that's what test cricket is all about. And life tests you, just like the bowlers kept testing the batsmen. And every time they made a mistake, the only difference was like the margin for error is much lesser when you're batting in cricket. Thankfully, it's not the same in life. You do get many chances in life. Most of us do. But I think I thought it was just like I've been saying, it was a bowler's. It's always going to be a bowler's test match with such high quality bowling, you know, on both sides. It was always going to be tough for the batsmen. And we saw that. And eventually it came down to which team was more consistent with the ball, in my book. I thought India did struggle. Jasprit Bumrah had a test match where I didn't think he bowled badly, but he wasn't consistent enough. And I think that really ended up being, you know, not India's downfall, but it did let India down.
Yeah, well, it was a little bit of a window. I have to mention this comment from Pavan Pingle, just for you, Bharat. Ridiculous. Is there anyone who watched the England-Sri Lanka T20 after the World Test Championship final finished? And I know because you were whinging about this before we came on air. So, Pavan, yes, there was. There was one other silly person in the world, and it was, no. Oh, there, Bharat.
It was, and it was 4 a.m. Like, I'll tell you why. So when the match finished here, I was really excited to see how New Zealand are going to celebrate. I saw, I was really impressed. Not impressed, I was happy. Like, we've gotten so used to every time a team wins anything, not just ICC tournaments, Premier League, T20 league trophies, the whole team just, like, you know, explodes onto the field and, you know, picks up the stuff. Nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's become too passé. Everybody does that. So to go back to the old school way of celebrating a big win, where the team is celebrating in the dressing room, like, which is their sacred place, was like, you know, was a throwback. Was the, you know, what the kind of cricket I grew up watching. Actually, that makes me sound like I was growing up in the 70s, but like, yeah, like, oh, there you go.
Yeah. Great shot, this. Look at that. Look at that. They're so excited. They're so excited.
How cool is that? Like, that's their dressing room. That is their space, right? I thought it was great to see that. And I was waiting to see what was going to happen next. And Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor were just walking off. And poof, next thing I hear is Nasir Hussain's voice, and there's Danushka Guna Tilaka on the screen. So it took me half an hour to recover from that shock. And I coped with it by just sitting and watching T20 cricket and Sam Curran and how Chris Stokes was playing a T20 after a long time. It felt, yeah, I felt like I was cheating on someone when I did that.
Hey, and can I just give a shout out to that shot? I'm pretty sure that shot there, you saw a cameraman in front, but that was taken by Willie Nicholls, the New Zealand media manager, who is absolutely, honestly, one of the best in the whole world. And I don't know if you saw any of the footage that came out of, you know, them playing darts and table tennis. And Graham Stead, by the way, he is a machine when it comes to pub sports. But yeah, big shout out to Willie for doing so much to basically bring us into the dressing room.
He actually sent me a picture, Mel. It was 3 a.m. in London and he was busy working. I was shocked. I said, Willie, your team is just to become world champions, to be out, celebrate. But, you know, he's the ultimate professional. So he was like, yeah, there he was with his laptop.
He certainly is. Okay, let's bring up another nomination, please. Get through a few more of these if we can. Abdul Sinan 5. In hindsight, did Indians really overestimate their performance in Australia by picking Jadeja instead of Siraj? I know it's a historic series win, but Australia's drop-in pitches are very flat, which doesn't swing or seam or bounce as much as it used to. I mean, I thought Jadeja really justified his position in the team with the bat as much as anything, and in the field like he always does.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if anything, the guys who played in Australia weren't there. If that was the case, Abdul, they would have stuck with Siraj because he was one of the stars of that Australia win. No, I think India were always going to go in with their best bowling attack or best composition, which is what we saw. Ishant, Bumrah, Shami, Jadeja and Ashwin. So in hindsight, of course, you can look at it and I think, you see the ball swinging around. Siraj would definitely have played a role if he had played. But how do you justify picking Siraj ahead of a Bumrah or a Nishant Sharma? It just doesn't happen that way. It's easy for us, not just Abdul, you, but all of us to sit here and talk about selection and those things. But it's once you're there, I mean, in the dressing room, it's very difficult to justify that. Just to bring up Martin Lawrence, our good friend, can someone please explain to me the World Test Championship? I don't think there are too many changes, Martin. It's pretty much the same. The only difference from when it started is they're going to stick to the whole percentage point system, which came about ironically because of COVID-19 and the pandemic and a lot of series being cancelled. So that element of it they're sticking to, but otherwise it's going to be the same. So in 2 years' time, we will most likely be in England. There will be rain. It'll be a one-off test match, and we'll still be talking about why there should be 3-match series and why England should never
20 reserve days.
I know, and how the rain god should be sent on a vacation whenever there's a test match on.
Speaking of gods, I'm just going to just mention quickly Subhankar Bhattacharya, who says, have the cricket gods settled the score with New Zealand now? And the answer, yes, I think they have. I think they have. Okay, next nomination, please, from Raghav Padya, who I think has been really wanting to get this nomination in here. Good, and a living proof that sometimes, just sometimes, nice guys do finish first. Simon Doull. This one has to be one of the most iconic lines in cricket, and it sort of sums everything up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'm so happy for Dooley. I mean, he's been in the commentary box and seen New Zealand go through a lot of ups and downs in the last many years, and you speak to him, he was a product of the whole the 90s era of New Zealand cricket, where every second week there used to be a new coach. There was so much happening behind the scenes, players and the board and all that. And then, he spent the last 15 years at least as a commentator. He's seen everything. So, I mean, maybe what New Zealand missed out in 2019 in the World Cup final was Simon Doull in place of Ian Smith. So, I don't know. Ian Smith,
controversial. Why do you hate Ian Smith, man? He gave us that iconic line. Without Ian Smith, we would never have had the fairest of margins, but maybe the nice guy ones, maybe the nice guys do finish first, becomes as iconic in time. You never know. You never know. Now, just checking, there are still two more. So let's get through these. There's another one, I think, coming in from Yadu Vinayak. Ridiculous Kohli bashing. Make no mistake, this was a New Zealand conditions, and we arm wrestled them to the last 10 overs of the reserve day after losing the toss and facing the best swing attack in the world in overcast, damp green top. New Zealand would not have lasted 2 sessions with bat if this was a subcontinent pitch facing against our spinners. India is the best team. Maybe a little bit unfair. Look, there are some points in there, obviously. This is going to be the thing. Conditions are always going to favour someone, aren't they? I mean, that's it. You're never going to – I don't know if you're ever going to get completely, conditions where everyone's going to be the same. But at the end of the day, we did have 2 sides playing in a neutral venue. Whether or not that that favoured New Zealand somewhat. And also don't remember, there was a lot of criticism for New Zealand in not selecting a spinner. Not going to say by who, but there are a lot of people who criticised that. In the end, that decision paid off for them really well. And they didn't even use Colin de Grandhomme in sort of that second inning. So, fair play to some of New Zealand's selections perhaps as well in selecting the right team for their strengths in those conditions. I'm not saying that that India should have gone in without spinners, because why would you ever go into a test match without Ashwin? I have no idea why you would even consider that. So maybe a little bit unfair. And I think it's just worth mentioning too. The other thing is Kane Williams' captaincy was pretty spot on, and I think you saw that really well when he dropped. Was it Tom Latham down to fly slip, and when Shami was swinging, Shami was doing his thing, and he not only did he move into the right position, it was exactly the right position. I think Latham only took like 2 steps to get that catch. It was amazing. So I think give a bit more credit to New Zealand in playing the situation and selecting the right team, having a captain who made good decisions and making the best of what they have.
Yeah, a little credit to Tim Southee as well. I thought he had a little to do with that field as well, pushing him back. But it comes back to I agree with certain elements of what Yadu Vinayak is saying, because just like I look at it as India having failed to win an ICC trophy. I still don't think that means that New Zealand are a better test team than them. They are the world champions. But everything that India have done, I don't think that means that it takes away from how good a test team they are. Like I said, if we are sitting here in September, and we'll be doing good, bad, ridiculous very often and very regularly, and definitely during the India-England series. But if we are sitting here in September talking about how India have now beaten Australia and England in England, does that make India a better team than New Zealand? I don't know, but it will not take away from the fact that New Zealand are officially world champions. When it came to the crunch in that one match, and that's why I prefer 1-match finals to 3-match series in any format, they were the better team and they deserve to be world champions. That's just how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of being a champion team. It's not just winning all the time. When it comes to this sort of thing, it's winning the matches that you need to win. And I think we have one more nomination that came in from Cricket Broken Dreams. I think it's from those guys. Hi, guys. Good, Ross Taylor, Watling and Wagner lifting a deserving trophy toward end of their careers. Great servants of New Zealand cricket. Ridiculous effort by Henry Nicholls, New Zealand and the New Zealand team to dismiss punt. I'm so glad we got that in, because at that point, whatever time it was, 2 o'clock in the morning here, and I was like, as the ball was up in the air. It seemed to hang for such a long time, but to take that running back, looking over his shoulders, and then right at the very last second, if you notice, he had to adjust his hands. I think the ball might have been swirling a bit as well. But at that time, punt looked like he could be on. I thought, oh gosh, we're on for a special here, because we've seen him do it more than once now, and that for me felt like a real turning point in that innings when he went, and for Henry Nicholls to take that was a huge pressure moment, I think, for him personally. And again, like I said, everyone making their contribution to this test match. That was a huge contribution from Henry Nicholls and a great display of skill.
Massive moment in the game. And we were just talking about it off air. Just the 2-3 overs leading up to that Rishabh Pant dismissal, it looked like India were trying to play 2 games in a way. Like, yes, I mean, still set a target for New Zealand, but also he started leaving a lot more balls. He became a lot more selective. He wasn't just randomly running down the pitch and smashing balls or trying to smash balls. He did on that one occasion, but I thought New Zealand bowled well, and Rishabh Pant was big. He was set in. And it reminded me of Richie Benaud in the commentary box. The 1983 World Cup final. A lot of people on Twitter compared that Henry Nicholls catch to Kapil Dev. I think Kapil Dev ran a few more yards than Henry Nicholls had to, but very similar. You running, looking up, running back, and to then adjust at the last minute. I mean, Richie Benaud's famous words were "shot, not sugared," and I don't think he could have said good shot for the shot that Rishabh Pant played yesterday, but that catch turned that World Cup final in 1983. This catch turned this World Cup final in 2021. And and I think New Zealand never looked back after that. Great catch. He hasn't done much with the bat in this match. And I was really worried, if Henry Nicholls had to walk out to bat when Ashwin was breathing fire at that point, who knows how this game would have gone. But yeah, that catch came at a really, really good time because the overs were beginning to count down at that point. So,
yeah, they were.
From that aspect, I thought it was a very important moment in the match.
Yeah, it was. There he is. Look, bless him. He's the nicest man as well. I have to keep using that word again, but that was absolutely brilliant catch. Oh, look, Muku and Rati, nice work on the Zoom. That was.
Arpan said as well, you could see he pointed at someone in the crowd. Somebody on Twitter was saying maybe there was some, verbal, I wouldn't say abuse, but someone was saying something to him from the crowd. And, you rarely see reactions like that from a Kiwi cricketer. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just going to, before we make our judgments, just one there from Hemant Jamani saying ridiculous. Kyle Jamison's bowling throughout the match. He hardly gave any freebies and was super accurate. Really happy for New Zealand team. Thoroughly deserved winners. And yes, we've talked a lot about Kyle Jamison throughout this test, and I think it's safe to say we'll be talking about him a lot more in the future. Can I just say, very disappointed in all of you because no one nominated Rishabh Pant's reverse pull for one of Tim Southee, which was absolutely ridiculous.
All right, Mel. Unfortunately, this is a live show and my battery is running out. So can you just hold out for a minute? I'll just go because they'll run out otherwise. Sorry.
Oh my gosh! You think you're working with professionals. I mean, yesterday he comes and sits down and says, "Oh, I just need to go and put my pants on." If that wasn't bad enough, now we're having to worry this. So look, I'm just going to say hello to a couple of you who are on there. I see Pavan Pingle saying ridiculous. India playing 2 spinners again for the first England test on pretext that we take pitching conditions out of the equation. Again, like I said, I would pick Ashwin basically anytime playing a test match. And you even saw actually on the last day when he took those couple of wickets, Ashwin, I thought for a moment, hang on a second here. Is this going to be the twist? Because he just has the ability to eke out wickets in almost any condition. So, a bit harsh on them, I think. G. Paul saying Bharat just doing Bharat things. And I like this from Nagarajan. This is casual show. So what Bharat did is okay. Nagarajan, don't encourage him. For goodness sake.
Yeah, I was wearing pants today, so that was good. I could get up when the show was on and go. So let's.
Yeah, right. Casual show. Right, on that note, it's time for the goodest thing of the day. Got your wings on, Bharat. What was the goodest thing?
We have new world champions. What can be better than that? I know. Finally, New Zealand can call themselves the champions of the world.
Good one. And time now for the baddest thing of the day. It's a little laugh at the end.
I think, you have to be harsh on the Indian batting. The batting in the first session, as good as New Zealand were with the ball, all India needed to do really, was bat a session and a half or just bat that first session without losing more than a wicket. Yes, conditions were tough, but conditions were easier than they had been previously. You saw how Ross Taylor and Kane Williamson, once they got their eye in, looked rather comfortable. There were runs to be scored. So I think, you can defend them as much as you want, but I think the Indian batsmen yesterday, the key guys, really let them down. And that was the baddest part, not just for the match, but for India.
Okay, and now the big moment. It's time for the ridiculousest.
Like I said, it's going to take me a while to get over it. the ridiculous thing for the day is, that's the beauty of Test cricket. It keeps giving you lessons all the time. We have a new format. We have a format which is a 4-day test played over 6 days, and and there'll always be a result. I think that's the biggest takeaway. There have been a lot of people who've said that no, we need is this a great advertisement for 4-day test? Not really. You need 6 days to complete 4 days. So it can't get any better than that.
Yeah, I did see a few people nominating that. It's a great advancement for 4-day cricket. Let's just remember, if it was a 4-day test, then we would have had 2 days play probably. So, yeah, exactly. Well, thanks all of you for coming and joining us live. And also, if you're watching on repeat, we will be back. Of course, there's a series to be played between England and India, and we'll be enjoying watching that. So make sure you like if you can, and always remember to drop your nominations on Twitter. I think, come on, Rati, come on, Muku. They don't know I'm going to say this, and they're suddenly going, oh my gosh, where's the thing that says, there it is. Yes, that's my way of testing them. Yeah, big thanks to Rati and Muku. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Bharat. I appreciate that.
Hey, and what do you mean by we have to wait for England? England and Sri Lanka are playing a wonderful T20I series. Ask me. I've sat and watched 40 minutes of it. So
you can do your own show on that. Okay, until next time, please do hit the like button, and please keep in touch with us, and we will see you very soon. But that's it from the World Test Championship. New Zealand are winners.